funniest thing about this video? I'm filming it while on hiatus. Hello fellow fic writers! Kudos for clicking on this video. My name is Cora Maria and I'm here to help you write and post your dream fanfiction. Any Coley Does Things fans here? If you've watched her Types of Fanfiction Writers video, then you might remember how each writer is their own breed of chaos. Except for this one, the good noodle.
Let's see, according to my updating schedule, I gotta post again on Friday. Well, good thing I'm already good to go. How do I stay on top of my stories? It's easy, you just gotta follow a schedule. I just got the most brilliant story idea. But first things first, gotta finish my works in progress. Already pre-wrote the fic, so I just gotta post the chapter update week by week. Fanfic writing struggles. Why would people struggle writing fanfiction? Everything is A-okay.
So how does the good noodle do it? How do they create an update schedule for their fanfiction and stick to it? That's what this video is here to show you. But first, it's time for the Sunday bar notice. As I always say, the advice I offer is like a Sunday bar of toppings. And just like we all enjoy different toppings on our Sundays, we all have a different creative process that works for us. For some, their process might be difficult to reconcile with something as structured as an update schedule. And that's okay. Update schedules are not for everyone. I still think they're worth considering because there are some objective benefits to using them, but if you follow the advice in this video only for your creative process to sputter, then throw the ambition of a schedule away and update at your own pace. If you want to take my process and make it your own, that's great! You have my full blessing, you funky little fic writer. Prologue. Why have an update schedule? There are many benefits to regular updates, so let's nail down the why before we launch into the how. First of all, it makes your fics more visible. On websites like AO3 and fanfiction.net, fics are, by default, displayed in order of most recently updated. That means the more regularly you update, the more often your fic will be seen at the top of the fandom slush pile. If you keep posting according to a specific time of high reader traffic, the odds of your fic being seen are even greater. So you know how a lot of readers are hesitant to read incomplete fics or fics that always seem to be on hiatus? If they're checking their favourite tropes, fandom, and relationship tags at a regular time and repeatedly see that your fic is updating, they'll be more likely to believe that you'll finish what you started and thus give your story a go. If you put your update schedule or frequency into your summary, then that might give these readers that extra nudge into clicking on your story. Another reason why you should update regularly? It benefits the readers. One of the struggles I experience when a fic takes months to update is that sometimes I forget what happened in the previous chapters, so I feel like I can't read the new update until I've reread the whole fic. Since rereading a fic to read just one new chapter feels daunting, that fic will drop down my TBR list. If there was a shorter break between chapters, I would have felt ready to devour the new chapter straight away. I know I can't be the only one here, so if you as a reader can relate, then please sound off in the comments. Please validate me. An update schedule also gives your readers something they can look forward to each period, and that can be an incredibly powerful thing. Imagine a person slaving away at a job that just doesn't bring them much joy. Imagine that person getting through each week because they know that every Friday afternoon their favorite fic will update. Your fic could be the reason why long-distance friends have a reason to call each other for a weekly mini book club. Your fic could be the reason why your readers refresh the page of your story until the next chapter drops. Yes, there is joy to be had in a surprise update, but there is also a special kind of joy to be had in an update that you know is on its way. Finally, an update schedule might just benefit you too. This is by far the most subjective point on this list, but to me, my update schedule is the perfect accountability system. It gives me a reason to keep writing my story at a regular pace, and it might just do the same for you too. But Cora, I thought fanfiction was supposed to be fun. How can I enjoy the writing process if I've always got deadlines breathing down my neck? Well, that's where the not-so-secret weapon comes in. Chapter 1, the backlog. There isn't a single regular updater I know who doesn't use a backlog. This is a buffer of chapters that are already written and, for the most part, edited too. For many fic writers, that can mean having the whole fic drafted before chapter 1 gets posted. For others, especially those of us who write epic lengths, it could mean posting chapter 10 when you're in the process of writing chapter 20. The great thing about backlogs is that they separate you from the deadlines of your update schedule. That means you have the freedom to write at your own pace while still feeling accountable to keep writing so that your backlog doesn't shrink into nothingness. There is no right or wrong answer for how long your backlog needs to be before you start posting. But I recommend you wait until after you've written past the point when you might typically abandon a story. For example, if you're someone who tends to fall out of love with the story soon after the first act, maybe wait until you've reached your midpoint. Then you'll know that your love for this story runs deeper than shiny new idea syndrome, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, I might actually finish this one. Of course, there is one major drawback to backlogs that many writers struggle with. They require patience. How are you supposed to wait weeks, months, or even years to post your story when you want comments and kudos now? That brings us to Chapter 2, How to Deal with Delayed Gratification. We humans are social creatures. Whether we like it or not, we do crave interaction and validation, so it is totally natural to feel tempted to post your fic before you have a sufficient backlog. That's okay. There are other ways to scratch that feedback itch. Does it take time to build a backlog? Yes, but you know what also takes time? Building hype for your fic. Pitch the concept, give progress updates, and post extracts on Discord, Tumblr, or whatever your social media of choice. Even just by teasing your project, you can invite interaction from other people in your fandom. By the time you post chapter 1, you'll have a handful of readers ready to pounce on it with comments and kudos. Oh my god, those planes, I swear. Would you like me to do a video going in depth on how to set up your fic for success from the debut chapter? Let me know in the comments below. Another way to get some of that sweet, sweet gratification is to share your work with a friend who is invested in the same fandom as you, or is happy to enjoy it fandom blind. They can be the cheerleader you need to hold off posting chapter 1 as soon as it's done. Going back and forth with them might even help you figure out ways to make your story even better. But let's say you do have a backlog, have ways to cope with delayed gratification, and yet still struggle to update your fic regularly. Pay attention to this next part, because this is something that I think a lot of fic writers overlook. Chapter 3, the update process. Writing and editing a story is one thing, but posting it is a whole nother. There's the final proofreads, the uploading documents, checking your formatting, chapter titles, author's notes, chapter summaries, and let's not forget posting on your socials to let your followers know that the next chapter is up for their reading pleasure. Because my current work in progress involves cross-posting, embedding images, uploading and embedding a podfic, promoting on 2 social media platforms, and marking the chapter as posted on my Milanote board, that process lasts me around 30 minutes, and it would be even longer if I didn't use these hacks to make the process as convenient as possible. First of all, I write my chapter summaries and author's notes ahead of time, usually as I draft the chapter in question. That way I don't have to think of anything on the spot and can just copy and paste. I also proofread and upload into fanfiction.net's doc manager at least 5 days before the update is due. since I read out loud as I edit, the final proofread is always when I record the podfic, and I make sure to do the recording at least 3 days before update day, since I know it takes me around 2 to edit. Finally, I make sure to have the necessary HTML for embedding my image and audio player saved on my Notes app, so I can tweak it as necessary and then copy and paste. When you understand how long it takes for you to not only draft a chapter, but to prep it and post it, then not only will you know how much time you need to set aside just to get the chapter up, but you'll have all the variables you need to determine what kind of update frequency is right for you. Chapter 4. How often should you update? If you've already finished writing the whole fic, then you can technically update as often as you like, but the longer your chapters are, the more that I think you should space them out. Readers may struggle to read a 10k word chapter twice a week and find themselves in perpetual catch-up mode. They may get intimidated and abandon your fic, or if they do stick with it, then they'll be less likely to comment on each chapter individually. But what if you post your chapters in 1,500 word bites? Twice a week is a reasonable pace to go. I've heard that the short chapters, frequent updates approach works well for Wattpad, but since I don't post there, I wouldn't know for sure. If you're still writing your fic but have a backlog, then pay attention to how long it takes you to finish drafting a chapter on average and how much of the story you have left to draft. If you have less than half of your story left, then you can afford to post a little more frequently than it takes to draft a chapter. If you have over half of your fic left to write, then you should post a little less frequently than it takes you to draft a chapter. That way you don't run into the risk of your backlog running dry. For example, it takes me around 10 days on average to draft a chapter, and I only have about a third of the full fic written. That's why I update every fortnight, or every 2 weeks, since apparently a lot of Americans don't know what fortnight means. This allows my backlog to steadily grow larger even as I post, so if something happens and I have to take a break from writing or write at a slower pace, I don't run out of chapters for like a year. Epilogue. Your schedule is a goal, not a commitment. Even with a backlog, a process, and a chosen update frequency, there are still going to be days when you just won't update on time. You might be a few hours late or even a few days, and that's okay. Sometimes work gets in the way. Sometimes a chapter needs more editing before it's ready for publication, and sometimes you're just tired and need a break. Even I don't update on time all the time. I'm often a day late, and I'm allowed to be. I'm still updating as regularly as I can at a comfortable pace. And if that's good enough for me, then it's good enough for you too.
Plus, if you are late to update, you can participate in the ancient AO3 custom of apologising in your author's notes and reframing your delaying circumstances as if they are a bigger inconvenience to the readers than they were to you. It's tradition. We really are a different breed, aren't we?
So now I've got to ask, what's your opinion on update schedules? Do you think they're too much pressure to deal with, or a great way to hold yourself accountable and keep your readers engaged? Let me know in the comments below. And that's the end of the video. Kudos for watching, kudos for liking, and extra kudos if you've subscribed and hit the bell for more dreamy fanfiction tips. Next time, I'll be covering how to get comments on your fanfic. But in the meantime, happy fic writing!